I'm just going to, I've had a pleasure to introduce Adrian Michie, who is a director of Contracts on Demand, and he's going to give us a construction overview of what eCloud is. Thank you, Adrian.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you. You'll notice that I'm wearing a suit and a tie. And one of the reasons I look forward to this event was because I can do that. The form of dress that we are generally used to nowadays has changed. I can remember in my youth, my dad, he used to go to work with a pinstripe suit, a bowler hat, and a rolled up umbrella. That was in England. And it's amazing how things change over the years. In 1970, I, as a young engineer, I joined an organisation in the UK called the Building Services Research and Information Association. And that was to head up a new unit. Amongst other things, it was designed to advise the industry on the use of a new thing called a microcomputer. In 1970 this was, and the first microcomputer we had was a do-it-yourself kit with 2K of ROM. Okay. And so my introduction to microcomputers was at that stage, and my career developed along the lines of the increasing ICT technology. So I've been involved in various developments. I've worked for the CSIR in developing the country's first CD-ROM-based services, first online services, and so on. And I've been in South Africa for 30 years. It's almost exactly 30 years. So I've seen a lot of changes. And what I'm just expressing now is two profound changes that have taken place in that time. The way that we no longer wear generally formal wear to work, and the tremendous increase that we've had in information technology and communications in that time. So those are illustrations of change. Now, when I started out in this field, I qualified as an engineer, and I became interested, but not just interested in the application of computers to the industry, but I became passionate with that. And anybody here knows the difference between being interested and being passionate about something?
Passionate costs you more money.
You're absolutely right. I'm going to use an illustration. You know, when you actually got down on your bended knee in front of your future wife, did you say, "Well, I'm interested in you"? No, you didn't. You were passionate about that situation. And yes, you're right, it cost you money in the end. But it's a passion that we have for the industry, and I know that there's a lot of people here. I can name a few, like Brian, Stan, Ruger, Louis. We are passionate in what we do in the industry, and that is a tremendous thing to have. We've heard Gansu talk about productivity, and I'd also like to relate what we're doing to the use of resources and sustainability. It's a big thing nowadays. We're told that the world is using 1.5 times more resources than the Earth can retake. What we have to do is we have to maximize those resources, and we do that by increasing our productivity. Tom told you about the equation P equals outputs over inputs. So if we increase our outputs and reduce our inputs, then we increase our productivity. And there's good news for companies, and that is that if we do that, then we automatically increase our profitability. So we need to look at ways in which to increase our productivity. And what we need to do is to conserve resources. Example is, if we try and avoid driving around to meetings, for instance, who wants to drive, consuming petrol, wearing out our vehicles, getting into queues on the highway and paying through it with it through tolls. We want to try and avoid these things nowadays because we've got the tools to do it, and we should use them. We can increase our profitability. We can reduce the resources we use as a country, and also the other thing that we can do is we can utilize the skills that we've got. This country has lost a lot of skills in building construction, and we've got to uplift the new generation, and invariably of black people. And how do we do that? Well, one of the ways of doing it is to build in to our systems the necessary skills and procedures, so that people with a lesser capability can in fact produce professional results. And this is one other way in which we believe eCloud construction can be used. What is eCloud construction? Let me get onto it. It's a prime way of collaborating online with others in the industry. Whether that's done through the systems we have, whether it's done through communication capabilities. You'll hear a little bit about the Adobe's Connect Now conferencing service later on. But this is what we want to achieve. And how do we do it? We do it with others. Primarily, we work with others in the industry. And if we can communicate with others who are remotely distanced to ourselves quickly and efficiently, we will tremendously increase our productivity. As far as eCloud construction is concerned, this has been developed incrementally with the controller over the last 10 years. I covered productivity. It is a key to competitiveness. Here's the history of eCloud. Essentially, Cliff, my partner at home, launched a very sophisticated software program in 2000 for the JVCC called Series 2000. It's assisted in the production of payment certificates. I was involved in the development and launch of a multimedia service which provided the JVCC contracts electronically, and that was also at that stage integrated with Internet. Contracts on Demand as a company was formed in 2006, and we put our resources together and developed from there. We entered into an additional agreement with JVCC in 2006, with Proxy in 2007, and with Louis for eCore 2011. And then we looked at associated services, as we call them, other services that would fit into the mix successfully. This is the first homepage of Contracts on Demand. If you go onto the internet, www.contractsondemand.co.za, and you'll see here that we've got something that we organize training workshops as well. The way to log into our services now is through eCloud here, the logo, and if you click here, you can go into the eCloud website. It will take you to this web page, or you can get there directly by keying in www.ecloud.co.za. e-cloud.co.za. And what you see there is a number of buttons to further information. This one here takes you to a whole series of brochures regarding the individual services. This provides a facility to provide the prices and ordering. We have up-to-date news about eCloud, and also this button here takes you into what it can do for you. Subscribers log in through this login button. Now, what constitutes eCloud construction? Well, these are the services that are within this suite, and the way we organize them is that the main core service, as we call it, is the project information and documentation service that Louis Stevenberg will be talking about in detail later on. And that forms part of what we call our principal services. So we have 4 other principal services, and in order to then, we've actually organized these in such a way that one subscribes to those services, and then as an option one can take add-on services to them. So for instance, add-on service to eProxer is the eProxer document collaboration service that Cliff will say a bit about later. We have a range of JVCC services, add-on services, and the quick feeds feed tariff application. Then we go to associated services, and these are services that we're not particularly involved in running ourselves, but we actually are in an arrangement with other third-party organizations. Then software as a service is downloadable software, and this is software which can be downloaded and run on your PC at the moment, although we are migrating them to cloud-based systems. And if we go into the detail in terms of what they do, eCore is we have the ability to store, access, manage online project information and documentation in the cloud, so that any member of the project team 24/7 can gain access to that information. Tenderbolt is a part of that service, but it can be taken separately, and that allows the industry to post tender documents electronically and allow tenders to submit their tenders to a tender vault ready for the tender adjudication. eProxer we have been running now for about 3 years, but we've got additional capabilities now for the collaboration and the printing of the professional agreements, whereby they can be compiled in terms of completion by 2 people remotely, and up to the point where they can be printed. We've got a similar arrangement with JVCC contracts, but with JVCC we've got a much more, because it's been going longer, we've got more add-ons services. Quick Fees is the development feasibility service for preparing feasibility studies for property development professional fees. Then the associated services, Project Profile, which I'll be talking about a little bit later, is to provide a construction and project website providing access to the project team. So it's a website for a particular project. Connect Now is a conferencing service, and that is provided by Adobe. And On Tender is an online tendering service primarily designed for open tenders. Then Software as a Service, it provides the software on a subscription basis for property valuation, building cost estimating, electronic takeoff, and resource management. I'm not going to go online because we're actually will be pressed on for time, but going through the home page, one comes to this page, which provides the information about eCloud, and if you click on these icons, then you come up with a brochure or brochures for the particular service, and you can read all about the service and print that out. Similarly, there's an example of the eCore brochure. Then, going on the website, if you click on the login page, you come to a similar diagram, and by clicking in on one of these icons, you can log into the particular service that you subscribe to. If you subscribe to more than one of the services, then you can use a single ID and password, and when you go in, you can see, you can have access to the services that you subscribe to. Just quickly, these are the prime aspects of the eCore, principal service. You can read there. There are tremendous benefits from the whole project team using eCore. And as I say, Louis will be going through that. eProxer, we have the principal service, and we also have add-on services. The main add-on service is what we call our collaboration service, and that is also being introduced on eJBCC, so that two members of the principal agent, for instance, an architect or one of the other professionals, can bring up a document and collaborate in its completion remotely. We really believe that that is going to be a well-used service. eJBCC has been going for some time. Probably most people know about that. The completion of the JBCC agreements online. But we now have these added services that you can optionally choose as part of it. And we'll be talking more about those. Cliff will be talking more about those later. This is the tender vault service. Allows to access a secure electronic tender vault for deposit of tender documents for a specific construction project. Features and benefits. And then the principal service development feasibility and its add-on, the professional fee applications. And Ian Alexander will say a little bit about fees later on. Project profile service, very simple. It's basically a closed website for a particular project. And then we have the conferencing service, Adobe Connect Now. The associated service on tender, which Martin Clute will be talking about a little bit later, and software as a service. We then also have on the site ordering facility. You can either go in and order these online, or you can actually access the order forms for the various services. This is just an example. The fields within the order forms are active, so you can fill them in and then save and print that order form and email or fax it to us. The pricing, each service is offered on an annual subscription or project by project basis as appropriate. Payment on those services is via debit order on a monthly basis, and one with eProxer and eJBCC can also go in and do ad hoc purchases of the agreements. But the pricing on each service will be done a little bit later. It's very important nowadays. We're coming into the realm of social networking. Personally, I resisted for a long time joining Facebook. And I've recently joined Twitter, and it can be a lot of rubbish that you get on your cell phone every morning. But you've got to manage it properly. But what I want to say is that Contracts on Demand is on each of these services. If you want to comment on the service, let us know, keep in touch. So, in conclusion, on my part, eCloud construction, what we believe is innovation is not a destiny, it's a journey. We've been incrementally developing eCloud content and services over the last 10 years, and we wish to be innovative in solving your problems. We don't want to be alone in this. We want you to help us. We want feedback from you so we can improve in what we do. So eCloud construction is a staging post in this journey, and with your help in showing how to improve it, we can assist you even more in improving your productivity and profitability. Thanks very much.